And we're live. No eating microphones. Welcome to questions, comments, and smart remarks. I'll provide the smart remarks, you provide questions and comments.
Can I eat the microphone?
You may not eat the microphone.
I would like to eat the microphone.
You may not eat the microphone. It's a very expensive and nice sounding microphone because we invested in our audience's ears and audio quality.
We didn't invest in content quality, though.
We see soundproofing. We even soundproof this place just to enhance the audio here. So
I didn't do that. I want to point out, I actually was not helpful with that at all.
So what do we got for a show today?
Oh, you have you were gonna start off our show today with your segment that you have, that your video, disturbing video, just a warning.
So we're going to call this show What the Suck. Because what the suck? All of you probably have tons of dirt in your homes, and you don't even realize it.
This is not a paid promotion for anything, by the way. Just
No.
FYI.
No one paid
No.
us to say this,
I promise.
but I'm going to say this once and for all. If you own a Dyson, you will understand how much your life has changed. Because suddenly, where your home was clean, you now realize it was filled with dirt the whole time. And somehow your magic vacuum cleaner found it.
All of it.
Every last bit. And sometimes I find the color of it surprising because somehow you suck it all up and it's either like light white or gray. And I don't know how all dirt is somehow gray, but it happens. So what the suck? And lest we should forget, the producer and co-host, my new promotion. Julie is your host.
That you gave yourself. Does that really even count?
I don't know. I think this many episodes into it, your bitterness is really getting old.
This is like the 4th episode,
Fine.
the 5th episode.
I'm
allowed to be bitter still.
I'll demote myself back down.
Oh, goodness. Here we
And
go.
I'll still be the co-host one way or the other.
Climb off the cross. We need the wood.
I'm going to leave that right there. I know it is Good Friday today. And none of these things should be said. None of them.
None of them? Okay.
Well, no, I mean, we shouldn't be. No, just you dug that hole in which the cross sticks.
Oh, dear.
You're going to have to live with that one. So, backstory, I accidentally vacuumed my daughter's mattress.
That's not true. He made her take all of her bedding off and vacuumed her mattress. So there was no accident. How do you even accidentally
Let
vacuum
me explain how
something?
you accidentally vacuum a mattress. I vacuum the house every single night.
Because he's obsessed with his new toy, not because he's obsessed with cleanliness or wants to help. I just want to point that out.
Or perhaps
for our viewers.
Or perhaps I do appreciate the additional cleanliness that the house has garnered thanks to nightly vacuuming. And I also appreciate...
So what's that saying about me?
I
and
suck
my
more
house
than
cleaning.
you do? I don't know.
I feel like maybe you're saying you make a better housewife than I do.
No.
Should we get you a little apron?
No. It doesn't match the vacuum. It's purple.
I'll find you a purple apron.
I'm sure you would. So, shameless plug, unpaid. We have a
Dyson.
Then I mentioned we do these shows late at night, so
It's not even that late though. It's only 10:30, and the baby slept really good last night and didn't wake us up like 5 times. Well, me. She doesn't.
I'm older than you are too, so let's not forget
Only
about that.
by 3 years.
Yeah, we haven't played our guess my age game yet.
It's my age plus 3 years.
We're saving that one. No.
Speaking of Good Friday, there's something you and Jesus have in common this year.
It's Stop it. Shameless plug. Dyson V10 Absolute. It's very simple to use the vacuum. So when you want to vacuum every day, it's really easy to vacuum every day. There's no like hauling cords. You can vacuum the stairs too.
And it's easy to transport like back and forth between houses. We're selling a property that's like literally like a 4-minute drive away. It's not that far. But taking a regular vacuum is a pain in the butt because they're just kind of big and cumbersome. And this one breaks down into a couple of smaller components that it's easier to just kind of put it into your car and,
Little pieces.
go. Yeah. And they're like really skinny pieces too, so.
It looks like a gun, so as a man, I'd naturally gravitate towards it.
A man in the Coast Guard.
Well, my branch was here, not yours.
I'm
Continuing on.
not in the military.
I know.
I wanted to be, but somebody wouldn't let me. Who was that? That was you.
So, on to how I accidentally vacuumed our daughter's mattress.
He really is in the Air Force. All right, continue accidentally vacuuming.
This is how you accidentally vacuum a mattress. She'd been bouncing on her bed, so the sheets were halfway off. And so I was vacuuming in her room, and I just took the vacuum and I flipped it up onto her mattress while I was vacuuming the floor because it's extremely lightweight, so I just chunked it up there. And I look down and I see in the vacuum canister there, because you know how Dysons are really swirly, I just see like white stuff coming out and just swirling, like this stream flowing right into it from it. And I was like, stop, strip the sheets, we're vacuuming it. That's how I ended up accidentally. You just happened to walk in after I had already told her to take the sheets off. So yes, it was an accident that we got started on all of this. So when I got downstairs,
It sounds more like you were being a smart aleck. With the initial, I'm
No.
vacuuming now.
Oh, no, it was
And
an
then you're
accident.
like, oh, wait, what?
well, I was being a smart aleck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is it didn't start out as an accident. It started out as you being a smart ass.
Yeah. Pushed on, whatever. It devolved into vacuuming a mattress. So when I got downstairs, I made our son strip his sheets off his bed so I could vacuum his, because I figured if my daughter's is that bad, his has got to be at least 10 times worse.
10 times worse.
So
You know that saying that a boy is noise with dirt on it? That's true.
yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
So I made my daughter grab the camera, and so we took a little video so everybody could see what it looks like to vacuum an 8-year-old boy's mattress.
It's really gross, just FYI.
So we're going to be using a Dyson V10 Absolute with the torque drive head. My lovely. And we're going to vacuum
gray
David's mattress.
Are you
I've gone ahead and emptied the
He's in the
canister on this
background
vacuum so we can see how
protesting.
much we get out of it
everything?
on his mattress.
I just
I'm also going to use the max power setting for
and you can still
maximum
hear 'em.
extraction
Yep.
of small pieces of David. And here come the small pieces of David.
So to give a good clean, you got to go both
At this
directions.
point, I can literally see the mattress changing colors as I go.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Like part of, like you could actually see brown coming out of it, which somehow mysteriously turned gray as we look into it. the interior of the chamber is completely coated in white dust, which is small pieces of David. There's also a large amount of lint in here. Let's go pop it out. Actually, let's throw it right back on his bed, see what we got. Don't worry, I'll vacuum it up here in a second. And that is what came out of his bed. That is absolutely disgusting. And that's what happens when you run a Dyson V10 Absolute with your torque drive head on your mattress.
Or more
Have fun
precisely,
with
a
those thoughts.
small boy's mattress.
He does bathe regularly. Just so everyone is aware, he's not like wandering around just caked in dirt and only showering once a year or anything like that, I promise. But that's just how much junk he accumulates. Even mostly being inside.
Yeah. And I did vacuum it up. We had some pretty sweet Dyson high-powered action happen. Yeah, I don't know how the physics work with that, but the dust pile was like moving in front of the head, but then eventually got sucked completely up in there. But it erased 100% of what I dumped on there.
It's pretty gross.
But no, I'm very impressed with the performance of the vacuum and how much it takes out of the air. Like surfaces and stuff are a lot less dusty from daily vacuuming, and our air filter in the HVAC system is not plugging up anymore. So I haven't changed it in a while, but it's holding in there. Little vacuuming goes a long way. And that is my part of the show. We'll be back in a moment with Julie and her part of the show. All right, then. I guess we're back. What do you got, Julie? What do you have? You have show notes.
I have very dirty glasses, is what I have from making dinner.
I have a technique for this show, which has worked outstanding for me. I never wear my glasses on camera.
But your eyesight is not as bad as mine. Or maybe it is and you just don't care.
I just do it because no one would recognize me in glasses.
I would.
We have a longer history than most of our viewers probably have with us, so I assume that would be true.
I have known you for at least 5 minutes, so yeah.
At least long enough to have 4 children
Well,
and a half.
4 1/3.
On with the show.
On with the show.
That's a different show.
That is a different show. That's a bummer show. We can do that one in May.
I don't like bummer shows.
We can do that one in May. That can be your birthday show.
Very well then. What you got?
I have, on the subject of sucking, nothing nearly as cool as vacuuming mattresses, but something just as gross.
PTSD.
No, it's not PTSD.
Political team sports disorder. And it sucks. Okay then.
So we have this problem in the US. Actually, it's probably everywhere. But I live in the US, so that's mostly the political climate that I pay attention to. And it's something that I've called team sports politics. And the reason that I call it team sports politics is because we have this mentality of we have our two teams, and you're either on the R team or the D team, and there's no in between. But there's a lot of in between, but nobody wants to talk about the fact that there's a lot of in between. And everyone wants to make their team out to be the heroes. They're the saviors of the world. And the other guys, they're bad. They're the worst. And there are some things where that's true, where it is a very black and white dichotomy. But on most things, both sides are bad. I'm talking about the politicians. I'm not talking about the average everyday American layperson who is just trying to go about their business and certainly does vote. Can I help you?
I'm just being the average American layperson who goes out and votes.
Oh dear.
I'm a visual aid in this story. Visual.
Moving right along. No, but most politicians are very, very team oriented. And if their team wrote a bill, then that bill is all good 100%, and you should absolutely vote for it. And if you don't, you want to kill everybody. And if the other team wrote a bill, then no matter what it contains, no matter what it says, no matter what provisions or restrictions or whatever it might contain in it for whatever they're writing about, it's bad. And if you vote for it, you want to kill everybody. Do you see the problem? Do you see the problem? I don't think you see the problem yet. I don't think you see the problem yet. So let's back up.
Sorry, I was looking at the reflection in your glasses. That's why I didn't see it.
Some husbands aren't like you. Some husbands are nice.
More talking.
Oh, more talking. Okay.
Yes, that makes less editing on my part.
Oh, I see. He wants me to make his job simpler. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So, oh goodness, I don't even remember how long ago now. So there was a shooting, and anyway.
Which one?
In Texas. The one where it was that guy who had been in the Air Force and was bad papered out, and
Nadal Hassan?
No, not that guy. And went to the church in Texas where like his in-laws or ex-in-laws. You remember? And one of the guys who normally goes to that church but was skipping Sunday services ran out of his house and shot back with an AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So after that came out, there were people all around who were like, well, this is really bad. What should have been done to prevent this? And it turns out that military is not required to, they're strongly encouraged, but they're not legally required to report to the federal government people who are bad papered out, not dishonorably discharged. They are required to report those, but ones who are other than honorably discharged, which can mean a whole host of things. This particular individual was other than honorably discharged because of a domestic violence incident that happened where he assaulted his then wife. And so he was bad papered out, but because
we do take domestic violence seriously.
They do take domestic violence seriously. But because some poor little Air Force corporal or whatever the Air Force has that's like a corporal.
Technician. I don't know.
Some little low man on the totem pole probably didn't do something and file the correct paperwork. Air Force
buddies.
And filed the correct paperwork. And so this guy wasn't on the list that is accessed whenever you go to legally purchase a firearm. Contrary to a lot of... NCIC. So, contrary to a lot of political talking points, you actually do have to go through background checks to legally purchase firearms from a licensed firearms dealer, which is what this guy did. And he wasn't red flagged because he wasn't in the database because he wasn't required to be. So Republicans introduced a bill requiring government agencies like the military to report people who had these convictions to the system. And Democrats voted it down because it didn't go far enough.
So a little background here. The military judicial system is entirely separate from the civilian judicial system. Entirely 100% completely separated. Different processes, different courts, doesn't work the same. Even the laws concerning it are different, and things that you could get away with as a civilian you can't get away with in the military. So it's two entirely separate systems. That's where the disjoint happened.
Right. So Republicans introduced a bill to kind of try to reconcile some of those differences and require reporting of people like this individual to the background check system. And Democrats said, well, that doesn't go far enough. And then they voted it down just because Republicans had proposed it, when this is something that they had been crying for years. And that just seems weird to me. And it was literally just because the other guys proposed something. But then they didn't propose their own legislation that would go farther, which is what they said they wanted. And then they just sat there and went, oh, look, this group doesn't care about people being killed by gun violence, when that's not the case. And one group tried to introduce a bill to make sure that this didn't happen again. But the other group voted it down just because, well, that team, you know, they started it. They're the ones who wrote this bill and backed this bill, so that makes it bad, so we're not going to vote for it. And that was kind of the end of the story. And unfortunately, this bleeds over into pretty much every bit of legislation. We saw this with some coronavirus relief funding. It was initially held up because there were claims made about, oh, well, it's just a slush fund for major corporations and it's going to give Jeff Bezos $8 million a minute for his own personal bank account, and then everybody else is going to be taxed $8 trillion a second. I'm being a little hyperbolic, but it was basically that. And that wasn't the case. They just wanted to add other ridiculous funds to it that aren't really necessary, and other lots of strings attached and everything. Anyway, my point is that the vast majority of things are simply presented as a Republican idea or a Democrat idea. And if it's a Republican idea, then Republican politicians go, this is a Republican idea, it's good, it's good, it's good. And if a Democrat proposes it, Democrats go, this is a Democrat idea, it's good. But if they switch sides, suddenly that idea would be bad. Case in point, Obamacare. Do you remember back in President Obama's first term when they were wanting to pass a universal healthcare law?
I recall this time in American history.
Okay. So back then, because Democrats were wanting to do this, right? What did Republicans say? Oh, it's bad. It's going to bankrupt the country. It's terrible. People are going to die. Okay. So they're against it. And they were against it in 2012. And then suddenly, 2016, certain candidates on the Republican side proposed government universal guaranteed health care. And magically, when Republicans proposed it, it wasn't bad anymore. It wasn't going to kill everybody. It wasn't going to bankrupt the country. By golly, it was the best decision anybody ever made. What changed? Literally nothing, other than the political party associated with that particular proposal. That's it. That's literally all that changed. And it went from being horrible and awful to being good. Well, I personally think that an idea is either good or bad based on the merits of that idea and on the reasonably anticipated repercussions of whatever legislation they're wanting to introduce, whether it's tax cuts or tax raises. Sorry, microphone. Whether it's tax cuts or tax raises or I feel so bad. Or whatever. it's not based on, oh, well, this group introduced it and I don't align with that group on something else entirely, and so therefore it's bad. It's either good or bad based on its own merits, not based on who proposed it.
I'm full of smart remarks, but as I was saying earlier, the military judicial system is completely separate, and I'm legally prohibited from making any kind of comments during this segment of the show. Great segment.
Thank you.
What do we got next?
What do we got next? Oh, apparently I'm done with that rant.
Oh yeah, I'm rolling the dice. I'm rolling the dice now. I got.
We don't
one for-
have an actual die with topics. I feel like that's not okay. Well, no, he doesn't know what.
Shameless plug, unpaid. Logitech unifying receiver. That's what that is, in case the 1080p quality doesn't allow you to see that because you're squinting on a smartphone. And the die says top 3. Get ready to name your top 3 video games as a child.
As a child,
Yes. So, well, maybe not as a child. Top 3 video games ever.
well, Sonic the Hedgehog back when it was played on the Sega.
Never played it.
I play that all the time at the babysitters.
I homeschooled. We didn't have any game consoles. We barely had TV. So, number 1, we got Sonic the Hedgehog. Number 2.
Sarge's Heroes. My brother and I played that all the time on PlayStation. It was the most awesome, wonderful game ever. It was great. I loved it.
It was little plastic army men dancing around.
It was great. And you ran around the kitchen or the bathtub or whatever. And if you fell in the water, you died. It was great. It was a great game.
The shader technology of the day in video game consoles liked the simplistic rendering of games like Sarge's Heroes.
Yep.
Number 3.
Number 3. Does it have to be like played on like a gaming console, or can it be something that you played on the computer too?
Oh, but I didn't place any limits on this game, so
Oh.
you're
Oh,
playing the game of
gosh.
games. It's like the Game of Thrones, except redundant.
You can't do Game of Games. That's copyrighted by Ellen.
Really?
Anyway,
Well, as I was.
top 3. So, Sergeant Heroes and what did I say? The other thing?
So you had Sonic the
Sonic the
Hedgehog,
Hedgehog. Oh,
Sarge's Heroes.
I've got like a 3-way tie.
What's the top one of your 3-way tie?
It's an equal 3-way tie.
Equal 3-way tie.
Between Legends of Zelda, Oregon Trail, the old school Oregon Trail, and this one called
But you
Jewel
played a
Thief.
different old school one than I played.
No, I played the old school one.
But did you play the MECC version?
Yeah, the original kind.
The DOS one, but it was color,
Mm-hmm.
and it had the funky beepy music, but everybody loved it.
Yeah, we did that in public school whenever we had like indoor recesses and stuff.
I've only ever
It was
played
super
one
fun.
version of Oregon Trail.
Because he's old.
And it was the DOS version, but not the first DOS version. It was the MECC version, which was in color, and the whole game fit on one floppy disk. And it is actually available for play through Internet Archive, and you can actually play it in the web browser.
Anyway, and so then my 3C place is this one called, it was like Jewel Thief, and it was in this package of games that my parents had for their computer, and I don't remember at all who made it, but it was kind of like it was like a knockoff Pac-Man almost, but you had to go and collect enough jewels to unlock the cell door so that you could get to the next level before the guards caught you. So it was like Pac-Man, but like you're a jewel thief instead. And it was called Jewel Thief. It was one of my favorite games ever.
So basically, your favorite games
judging
are
an
ones
awful
that
lot.
I've never played, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's not my fault. You said you weren't placing any limits, so.
All right. Hey, I got a top 3 too. You're not gonna ask me about my top 3? I may have got a late start in gaming, but I still got a start in gaming.
Your favorite one is Little Big Planet when you play with me.
No.
Yes, it is. Because, see, while he's doing stuff like trying to figure out what we're going to do and what mission we're gonna go for and everything, I stand there and I just have my guy sticker his guy all over. It's great. It's the best. And I find the girliest, frilliest stickers to put on him. It's wonderful. And it makes him so angry.
Fortunately, I found the button which erases all of them. It was my favorite button, and then we quit playing, and then our PS3 broke, so that was that.
Yeah.
No,
So now you've got to get a new one.
I'm getting a PS5. PS4 be damned. Top 3. The original Sierra Red Baron DOS game, fit on a floppy, World War One, fly, shoot balloons. One of the only games I got to play as a child.
Because your parents were terrible.
In computer games. I got to play outside a lot. No. But my memorable moment for this game is my sister would always make fun of me when I was playing it because I'd be sitting there and you had to play with the keyboard. So you flew with the keyboard because we didn't have joysticks back then. So she would just see me sitting there doing this. I'm flying left. All right, I'm flying right. I'm flying up. I'm flying down. I'm flying left, right? And she'd just see me like just doing this the whole time while I'm playing Red Baron. And she made so much fun of me, and I love you, Hannah. Top 3, number 2 goes to...
Little Big Planet when you're playing with me.
No, not actually. It goes to...
Battle for Westnoth when you're playing with me.
That's number 3. Number 2 goes to Unreal Tournament 2004.
That's one of the worst games ever.
One of the best games ever.
One of the worst games ever.
One of the best games ever.
Nope.
I played the demo so many times. I don't even know why. Even when I bought the game, I went into the full version of the game and then played the same demo levels that were in the demo. It was a classic. It had weapons that were interesting, like the lightning gun and the frag cannon. You had a translocator beacon that if you could ever figure out how to use it was pretty cool. It had interesting locations. You could have different gravity. It was good shoot 'em up fun, but it wasn't all like, oh man, you must health pack every 30 seconds in order to be able to survive. You didn't have to worry about weight, health. It had the good simplistic elements of you just, ran around and shot without worrying about a lot of other stuff in the game.
You know what our 3-year-old's favorite game is?
Far Cry 5.
Hunting? Is that hunting fishing?
She
game?
calls it hunting fishing game. Supposedly an open world game, and you're in the backwoods of Montana, and so she sits in my lap and we walk around and we hunt deer and go fishing in all of the ponds. And
But
she
you
calls
have
it
to make
hunting
sure you
fishing.
have your pet bear and your dog and your cougar, your mountain
there's
lion.
pet animals, and she loves those.
She loves the bear.
And, they call these open world games because supposedly you can just go around and do whatever. But I found, unfortunately, as open world as that is, the main storyline, it will start punching the storyline into you. It tries to force you on it no matter how much it lets you just walk around. Number 3, Battle for Westnoth, classic open source gaming, turn-based strategy.
He never picks any of the fun teams though. He always picks like the trees and the dragons.
Yeah, go look it up. Go look it up. The main thing that was memorable for me about this one was I had dial-up internet forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And there were very, very, very few online games that you could play over a modem. And the state engine that Battle for Westnoth used, you were able to play it with other players using a modem connection, which was just incredibly slow. It would take you a week to download the game, but at least you could play it online with some friends.
Yeah.
Which, that was pretty cool.
It's a pretty fun game.
I got some honorable mentions out there. We got Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, is that the one where you run around and you just grab
Yep, you
all
run around, you're a Jedi, you pick up stuff, you lightsaber. It's actually...
And where, like, every time you hit the wall or something, money pops out?
No.
No.
That
That's
is-
Lego.
That is Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars.
Lego Star Wars is actually an excellent game.
Guys, I know why the Empire failed, because they literally gave out money all the freaking time to everybody,
Yes,
apparently.
if you destroyed anything of the Empires, it just turned into money.
Yeah, you just got
That's-
money. So,
That's where they went wrong. No, Knights of the Old Republic is an older version. I picked up a port that was ported to Android, and I could play it on my tablet and stuff. It's weird because it is you can walk around in the game, like kind of like a first-person shooter, but the game actually incorporates a Dungeons and Dragons dice engine. So when you actually encounter an enemy and you go into combat mode, it internally rolls like a D&D dice and decides the outcome of each engagement. So you actually get turn-based engagement. So it switches back and forth between it being a real-time and a turn-based game. But the game as a whole is pretty awesome. It's like $10 in your Google Play Store. Go check it out if you get a chance. And then MotorStorm. That was another favorite that I had.
That one's okay.
For PS3. It was just a simple driving game, but what was really cool about it was they called it Hollywood physics. Because I always hate games that are really intense. I don't have much time to play games. So sitting and having to worry about fuel levels and, all of those things, all the resource management. I don't care for resource management. MotorStorm was great because it only had one resource and it was like engine temperature. So if you hit boost for too long, you'd burn up your engine. But you could just drive around on these fancy racetracks. The unique thing about it was when it came out, they had something that had never been seen before in a video game. And it was that the mud on the tracks, when you would drive through it, when you would come all the way around the tracks and drive through it again, the mud would still have the same tire tracks in it that were there the first time you went through it. And to some degree, you could actually tear up the landscape and it would have a physics effect on the vehicles as you were driving through it. And that was pretty novel for the day when that came out. But that was my top 3, couple honorable mentions. Any last words before we call it a wrap?
yeah, did you ever go start marinating the steak like I told you to an hour ago?
No, but it takes 30 minutes to make, so it'll be ready to go. And of course, do you want to explain why at ODark 30 we're eating steak? You don't want to tell our viewing audience why you're eating steak at midnight.
Okay, so we are in the process of becoming Catholic, and that was actually supposed to happen on Holy Saturday, which is tomorrow. So today's Good Friday, tomorrow's Holy Saturday. We're supposed to officially join the church tomorrow, and that has been put on hold.
Thank you,
Rightly so, I
coronavirus.
understand. But it is disappointing. But during the season of Lent, which is where we're in now, on Fridays, you're not allowed to have meat. And then Good Friday, which is today, was also a day of fasting. And Catholic fasting is really more of a learn some self-control, you giant cow kind of thing than just don't eat anything for 24 hours. Catholic fasting is you can have one regular meal and then 2 smaller snacks that, if added together, don't equal a full meal. So, which I have done the don't eat anything at all, just drink some juice and water, and that's all you can have kind of fasting. I did that when I was in high school. And
That's just me on an average work day.
it is. The Catholic version of fasting is significantly harder. It really is. Because especially when
Again,
you're
just
stuck at
my
home,
average work day.
especially when you're stuck at home and we are incredibly fortunate to have a refrigerator full of food and cabinets full of food at our house. I know a lot of people, even in the best economy, aren't as blessed as we are. And
No,
we truly
just
are.
buy a lot of food because we have a lot of kids.
Well, but we are blessed. Don't even sit there and pretend that we're not.
I'm not. I'm
Just
not.
stop. So, anyway, but it is really hard because you're like, oh, yet I have this upstairs, and I have that in the kitchen, and it's difficult to go, you know what? I can't. I have to have this, or I have to abstain from that. Anyway, yeah, so, but since technically, and I know this is the letter of the law, but not the spirit, and I am so sorry to our lovely priests. I will come and talk to you all soon. I promise.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to set up a drive-through confession for Julie when you have a moment for me.
Anyway, no, but so when we, fasting is only for Friday, Good Friday. So, as far as I'm aware, Holy Saturday we can have, pretty much whatever.
And
And he
Holy
bought
Saturday
some steak. He bought some
is-
steak, so.
I did buy steak because I love steak.
But he got the wrong kind. He didn't get what I was intending.
No, I got
But
the
that's
right
okay.
kind of steak for the kind of steak that I'm making.
That's true. But
Yes.
you didn't get the kind of steak I was thinking about when I said I wanted you to get steak.
Yes,
That's really what the problem is.
but you will appreciate what I'm about to make.
Oh, no, I agree. I probably will like it most of the time.
Crispy sesame steak. I randomly just got a recipe from my dad, so I'm gonna try it.
This is what his family does. They exchange recipes.
Yes, we have awkward pleasantries. However, the exchange of recipes is quite free. Different show. All right. You gonna let our audience go to bed so that we can eat steak in.
I mean, they're not watching this in real time. So, like, they can pause halfway through or a third of the way through, or they can watch the whole thing 4 times through if they just really
Well, I'm
want.
not
I don't
discounting
care.
that, you know, people
I
might.
assume you're all
throw this
adults or
on it.
mostly adults. They can do what they
Maybe.
want.
I don't know. If I were me, I probably wouldn't watch this show before 10 p.m. Anyway.
Well, there you go.
Catch us on Facebook at Real QCSR. YouTube at probably the same thing. Twitter.
You're the one who set up
Yes, I
everything.
did.
He set up all of the social media,
You're probably
and he doesn't know any of them.
If you're
So
catching
that's
this on
great.
YouTube, the links are all somewhere down there on your.
I don't feel so bad for hitting the
They're
mic now.
somewhere you can find them. Good night, folks.